Hey, hi guys, welcome to the webinar. We'll just start in a moment. We have lots of people joining. Just a moment. Just as a show of hands, um, how can could you just click on the raise hand just to see that you can hear me? Okay. Um, yeah, excellent, lovely. Thanks Andrew. Thanks Lauren. Great. Thanks Ryan. Excellent. Hi Mihir, are you out there?
Yes, hi Sid, how are you?
Good, excellent. So we have a full house today.
Yep, I
Um,
see a lot of
great.
attendees.
Yeah,
I'm glad
great
to see.
job, great job. Good. How's New York treating you?
It's good. New York is bracing for a snowstorm coming, but other than
Okay,
that, we're about to get 1 foot of snow this weekend. But so far, so good today. Sunny day.
okay, all right, great, excellent. Well, in Singapore, there's just two kinds of weather. You know, we say aircon on and aircon off, AC on and AC off. So these are the two weathers. These are the two seasons we have. Excellent.
That's great.
So let's start. I think we have. I think as more people join, they would come in. But for the benefit of people who've joined in, let's start on time.
Sure, absolutely.
Excellent. So guys, the focus. This is a 30-minute webinar, which will be led by me, and I'll ask questions as we go along. So that's me. My name is Siddharth. I'm based out of the Singapore office, but I travel sort of 60% of the time between our UK and US offices. And Mahir,
Hi, this is Mihir. I'm the product manager here at Event2Mobile and WebSpiders. We deal with a lot of clients, and we do a lot of really cool product enhancements, customization work for various different clients as well. So just product management and client liaison for the United States.
excellent. Yeah. So very briefly, these are the three locations out of the UK. We're based in the Midlands. We then have a New York office where Mihir and a lot of our team, a lot of our staff are based, and the Singapore office for the APAC. So pretty much we cover most of our customers who are in more than 10 countries from these three locations. And as you probably know, we are at the Learning Technologies Summit in London in first week of February. So if you guys are over there, we would love to meet you guys. Yeah. Excellent. So, Mihir, this looks interesting. It looks like another chart to me. Could you give me some insight as what are you trying to tell us here?
Yeah, absolutely. So, what we've found in the past is, the mobile apps are very large in use and growing in, how they change the learning and development model itself. Earlier, everything had to be on paper, videos kind of came in, but now mobile is taking it to a whole different level where, it's easy to access and easy to learn on the go, at your leisure, and just kind of anywhere at any kind of time. So the model here is kind of describing a 70-20-10 model, which is showing that 70% of the learning for any kind of organization usually happens kind of on the job training. So while you kind of get these challenges, these problems, you're learning just based on being there around the environment and doing it, on the job kind of thing. 20% actually happens from social and informal learning. So whether you're kind of Googling, material, just kind of learning on your own, talking to other people on, how things are and how things work. So that's kind of 20% of that coverage as well. And only about 10% we found that is structured learning. So if you have classrooms, if you have sessions, trainings, and things like that, only about 10% of the organization's learning usually happens within that range. So our goal is to cover the 70 to 20%, 70 and 20%, and cover about 90% of that using the mobile applications. So what we can really do is, have that kind of experience, add that engagement while being at work and being at your organization to engage social experiences, engage social ability to reach out to various team members, to learn, to just ask questions, just kind of stay in communication, as well as just having videos and trainings and things like that as well. But that's where mobile, at an enterprise level, really excels and really has the growth opportunity, like no other kind of thing. So does that answer your question, Sid? Or
Yes, yeah, it's perfect. I mean, I think we sometimes get caught up in the 10%, which is the structured learning. And the reason apps are so popular is that they just don't, they drive engagement not only during the structured learning process, but across the on the job and the informal social. So I guess it sort of creates a comprehensive experience. So yeah, that's a good insight.
yep, absolutely. And do you, Sid, just a question for you. I mean, how do you see, the next few years at least, mobile has really changed the game, but how do you see enterprise adoption happening for the enterprise level to move things to mobile and encourage this kind of growth?
Yeah, I mean, what we are seeing is what's been typical of the relationship between consumer and enterprise. You know, if you see most of the technologies today, they were first adopted as a consumer tool, and then the consumers literally forced those tools into the enterprise. So whether you talk about instant messaging, whether you talk about the web itself, or any of the technologies that you see today, I mean, enterprise has typically followed the consumer. Now, mobile is just like another limb, right? I mean, that's we don't have to talk about how important mobile is. I think now for the enterprise, most CIOs, CXOs, CEOs, what they think about is, there's no point not adopting mobile as part of our infrastructure. The real opportunity here is how can we use that to engage, to augment our business and make it more digital. So one of the key areas for disruption, of course, in a positive way, is learning and development. Just because every student, every employee has a phone, a smartphone with them. So this is really almost like an irreversible trend that we see forward.
Right. Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
So just moving forward, so Sid, I think you wanted to cover these points as well. So if
Yeah,
you want to.
yeah, please go ahead. Yeah. So why don't you give us a brief on each kind? Yeah.
Sure. So, we feel there's a lot of ways for learning and development to happen. It starts at the very basic levels. Just kind of even learning about the company and things like that. Can start for mobile applications, but mainly for your employees' engagement. It kind of starts off with the onboarding, with the induction. We try to make a seamless process. For example, you kind of come in, you're new, you don't have much contacts. You're kind of waiting for things to get set up, find contact information, find all the documentations that you need from HR and things like that. So, mobile applications really are a great tool for, something like that to happen. So, we're going to kind of walk through various different things on, how we can do that with onboarding, inductions, then, the companies hold workshops, corporate events, and seminars, things like that to really grow the user knowledge base, earn credits for doing various different things, learning various different trades, as well as just offering that networking aspect of who's within the company and how you can really grow and network within the company as well. So classroom trainings, town hall meetings. I think Sid, you can expand upon that. I think there was a great town hall meeting held just recently. So, if you want to add anything on top of this.
Yeah, we actually have a slide later on which talks about how town hall meetings, I believe that even though you have all these tools, face-to-face, there is nothing to replace face-to-face or in person. And I think town hall meetings are probably the best form of employee engagement that you can possibly have. And I would highly recommend it for any company, even with 50 employees and over. Anywhere from 50 employees to 500,000 employees. It doesn't matter. We've done all sorts of town hall meetings, and I think the thing that you cannot take out from a meeting is the energy that people exchange when they meet each other. But what the apps do is they enhance that engagement, and more importantly, they help you continue that conversation before the meeting, during the meeting, and after. So that's why, let that be very clear. There is no substitute for face-to-face engagement, in-person engagement. Yeah.
Yeah, and I can actually see that as well. I mean, with town hall meetings, it's formal, but it's still informal. Whereas, classrooms, you have, it's a very structured kind of way as well. Classroom seminars, things like that. I think town hall really encourages that, that informal growth and informal connections to be made, and like you were saying, offer that energy level more than seminars and workshops and things like that as well.
Absolutely.
Oh, yep. That leads us right into the town hall.
Okay, great. Yeah, that's a quick picture of one of our own town halls, and it was just phenomenal. We had our own town hall, the Event to Mobile team in Asia, and it's just at one point we would imagine that why would people need to use it, but things like engagement and the messaging. So our social wall messaging almost replicates a cross between like a WhatsApp and a Facebook experience, and it was just absolutely phenomenal. The kind of engagement that happens during the event, as well as even now. It's been over a month, and I'm still getting alerts, still getting posts around the town hall. So this is an example of a screen grab from that. So yeah, absolutely, it's just irreplaceable.
Yeah, and I think you touched on something that's really really important. Where you mentioned the town hall is one thing. You have the event, but to increase and keep the engagement going after the events are over. So even after you have your learning, your trainings, your sessions, after that, you can still have contact with people that you met there, as well as your speakers, your teachers, and you still have access to documentations and things like that, which are very important, documents, videos, and things like that. So that's why I think it's really important to have a mobile platform where you can access this information not only while you're there and engage and take notes and things like that, but refer to it after that session and training is over for whatever amount of period afterwards. I think that's the key as well.
Yeah, because I remember one of our customers, Freshfields. It's a law firm out of London. They're probably the second or the third largest law firm in the world. And we did one event for about 1,000 of their partners coming together for a meet in Paris. And one of the biggest elements was them discovering other people, because in a company as large as that, it was a challenge for them to just know each other. And I think discovering other people who were relevant to their practice and in general who were they found engaging and interesting, that apparently was the biggest takeaway for them. So in a large company, that's a big use case as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think these are some of the tools, and Sid, I think you can cover some of these. These are some of the tools that help that networking engagement, while at sessions, and then obviously as well as beyond, but also offering a great ROI for for the organizers to receive data. So I'll kind of let you walk through some of these features as well.
Yeah, but these are some of the core sort of elements. Of course, the gender management is all about, having uh, the, not only the agenda there, but the resources there. So if you have like a 1 week training, or if you have a month's training, then you have all the agenda, all the resources, all the documents in one place. If it's a multi-track event, then you're able to bookmark and have that. But and then you have various cool tools like Live Mic. So what Live Mic really does is it helps you connect, convert your phone into a microphone. So if you're having a town hall meeting with 200 people in the room, you don't need to have a runner passing around the mic. You can convert the app as a mic as well. Of course, then there's polling and QA. But what's really the heartbeat of this system is, of course, the social OneL messaging. Because if you see, messaging is the most popular app usage across, by far, across all categories of usage. So whether you talk about mobile usage, you talk about social usage, messaging, whether it's WhatsApp or Messenger or even text, is by far the #1 use case for digital today. And that essentially mirrors, that consumer habit mirrors right into the enterprise. So when you get that environment within your training event, we see that people use the same messaging infrastructure to be able to communicate with the trainer, with other attendees, and that's essentially the tool that keeps you going, keeps the pulse moving even beyond the event. And then for the HR team, the analytics to see who's doing what, how many people are responding, how many people find it engaging, who are the influencers, what are the real questions being asked. I think these are the kind of uh, things that they get perspective from the analytics. So these are the core modules, and of course these are augmented by plugins. So we will talk about that very shortly. Yeah.
Yeah, and just to add to that, I think you touched upon the heartbeat of the system again being mobile messaging, but not only from the attendee to attendee or attendee to speaker, but also from an organizer's perspective to reach out to their attendee list, to their speakers via real-time push notification and alerts and things like that to notify them of changes, updates, or any kind of outreach from the organizer side as well. So I think again you're absolutely right where mobile messaging from one-to-one as well as from organizer to attendees is very, very important. And then the analytics, as you mentioned, just wanted to add that the analytics is real-time analytics. So if you can actually, as soon as the session is over, you can download reports and see how that session did, get real-time feedback from the app, from directly from people, surveys, polls, and things like that, as you mentioned. But again, real-time analytics really helps also as well, so you can make changes on the fly for the next session that's happening. Maybe in 30-minute span, or that webinar that's happening. You can make some edits and changes, so you get the real-time data. I think that's really important as well.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah. Yeah. So people, there was a conference we did where there were about 4,000 people recently, and gamification works, and simply because why it works is because it makes you compete. I guess that's why people use, that keeps them hooked on to Candy Crush, yeah, because they want to beat their next Facebook friend. And strangely enough, gamification is a big motivator even in learning, because when they see, if you're doing an induction program over, let's say, 2 weeks, and when somebody notices that somebody else is climbing up the charts, they want to compete and they want to be there, and that sort of competitiveness is, I think, a very raw core element of human nature, and that's why having gamification as part of your app, um, whether it's gamification based on a trivia or whether it's gamification based on points you've earned based on the actions you do or based on the progress, I think gamification remains a core element of driving engagement. I don't know, what did you feel, Mihir, on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've also actually, in part with gamification, it's kind of earning points towards credits and things like that. So we've seen clients that have used this gamification module almost as you go into a session, or you go into a training, and you have to kind of check in, and gamification comes in many ways. There's a leaderboard, as well as like QR code scanning, using iBeacons as well. I think we'll kind of touch upon that also. But using these tools, you can actually get attendees to be able to check in. They'll earn points, which will add that engagement. But from an organizer and a organizer perspective, you're actually capturing them, kind of check in. You're actually encouraging them to take quizzes and trivia to earn these things. And then again, with the analytics, you can actually award these credits properly to them after the event, during this event, and make sure that they are engaged while they're there as well. And obviously, as you touched upon, human nature, I think, is to be competitive as well all the time. So if I see someone that I know, doing better than I am, my most likely scenario is going to be, how can I go and beat them? And especially like currently, there's an event going on right now, which we are partnered up with, and they're using gamification very heavily at their event, and they're giving out prizes and things like that. So little things, T-shirts, mugs, and whatnot, really offer the engagement and the competitive aspect as well. But at the end of the day, with analytics, it causes a lot. It actually adds a lot of value, for being able to watch these videos, take these trivia questions, or just regular questions that you can offer via these scans and check-ins and things like that. So it really offers that value from the analytics part as well.
Yeah. No, great points. Great points. Also, I think what we could do is I'll just throw the floor open in terms of unmuting attendees, just so that it allows people to ask us questions as they move along, and that would help them in I think in making it more relevant. So can we have the attendees unmuted, just so that they can ask questions whenever they feel like? Please feel free to stop us and ask us any questions. Hi. Yeah. So I was just saying, can we get everyone unmuted so that people can ask questions as they move along? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let's go forward. Yeah. I think there's a significant background noise. So we keep it muted. And guys, if anyone would like to talk, could you just raise your hands, and then we would just open it up for you. Yeah. Okay, Mihir. Yeah.
Okay, so these are some of the case studies for the gamification, as we were talking about. They use for training programs. 50% gamified took 50% less time to complete, and massive improvement in long-term engagement. So again, as Sid had mentioned earlier, it's also post the event where people still remained somewhat competitive, and continued using the application to do various different trainings, things like that, to further their points for the gamification and things like that. And I think SAP Streamwork, I think Sid, you can talk about this one, but I think they added gamification there as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, this has become absolutely an essential part of what they do, and I think just gamification itself is a whole webinar in itself, but yeah, safe to say that that's integral to all the apps. And as you can see here, that it's not it's not just fun and games. It's the real deal. You know, when you want to drive learning and engagement into the company. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, Mihir, go ahead. I think a quick brief on beacons would be good before we move forward.
Sure. So, what are beacons? So I think there's a slide here. Basically, beacons are Bluetooth low energy signals, and what they do is they transmit via Bluetooth the ability to transmit notifications, capture data, and just offer insights like no other. So while you're kind of walking by, for example, Starbucks, if Starbucks is using it, while you're walking by Starbucks, you're able to, get a alert that says, here's a discount or something like that. This is really good for, for internal trainings as well. So again, if you're walking through and you have a session going on or you have a training going on, you can, as you're walking by, you can get a push notification alert that says what that is about, what the training is about. And then if you find it interesting, for example, then you can go in, step in, check in, and be engaged and be part of that. More than that, also, it offers really comprehensive insight without being obtrusive. Basically RFIDs and other technologies. You have to have some kind of action that will be able to calculate attendees and things like that. With this, it's kind of just set there. Once it's set, once you're walking by or you enter a session or you enter a room, at that time, analytics is also getting captured. And again, these are just alerts based on targeted alerts, based on location and proximity of beacons. And these has been really heavily used, even for gamification. We just recently deployed this for a client, and they heavily use it for gamification aspects as well, and it was a really successful event. Anything to add, Sid, for
No,
Bluetooth?
this is perfect. Essentially, beacons add location awareness to your apps, and in a larger event, they give you things like get people to see who are people around me. They help you give contextual alerts. So based on where you are physically, you get alerts based on that. And I think these things are really powerful when you want location as a context. So just to give you perspective, for example, one client that we have, they have about 200,000 employees, and they hired they had a big event in Orlando where it was like an internal appreciation event where I don't know how many people were there.
About 2,000 to 2,500.
Okay, so 2,500 people, and it was an internal appreciation event, and it was across the whole big park, and I guess it was over almost a week. And in those contexts, the beacons become very powerful. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yep. So here are some scenarios, kind of, how beacons can really help the workplace learning. So, for example, it can give trainings, real-time notifications. So once you have training set up, a lot of times there's certain information which you don't want to kind of waste time having, but you need that the attendee to kind of have. So as soon as you walk into the room, the process can get started. So even if the teacher, the speaker, the session hasn't started, the engagement already has started. So people, as soon as they walk in, they get the information that they initially need for about that session. Again, notifications like statement, what is the mission statement, where headquarters locations, or any kind of information about what that session is about, or just information about, hey, just to let you know, the presentation is going to be available as soon as the session gets started. Please engage your attendees. Please get engaged by taking polls, by taking surveys. You'll earn points and credits and things like that the more you engage. So just kind of like notifications as soon as you kind of walk in or walking by, as I mentioned, things like that. So these are the real-time, real-time scenarios that can be used. Sid, anything to add on this, or do you know any other scenarios that?
No, I guess we can open and ask any questions. I think that would be useful. Dwelling in the question. So yeah, so one question that I can see is how expensive are the beacons? Now, beacons are actually not very expensive. So a good a high quality beacon would be as much as $50 each, and some of the beacons which are smaller in terms of they have the same range, but they don't have like 4 batteries. They could be about $10. So they're not very expensive.
Yeah, and a good thing also about that is they are reusable. So you can if you make the purchase, you can use it through multiple events. I think their battery life is about like 3 years or so, something like that. So they are a pretty good investment as you can reuse them for various different purposes.
Okay, let's move.
So, what we also are capable of doing with our learning platform, with our mobile platform, is integrate with various. So, moving forward to kind of the technology aspects, we can integrate with current LMS systems which are out there. Majority of the LMS systems, have integration capabilities. So we do encourage, because a lot of times with organizations, such as a lot of your organizations, will already be using LMS systems, may already be using certain, other mobile applications or tools in general. So our key niche as Eventim Mobile is the ability to integrate with these third-party systems, so that you're not kind of reinventing the wheel. But this is kind of encouraging, bringing it all together and being able to leverage other tools which are not available. So as I mentioned, with LMS systems, there's a lot of really good LMS systems out there which which currently are probably being used by organizations, but we can seamlessly integrate with them, to really bring that into the mobile application itself.
Sure. Yeah. So it's good. Let's move forward. Yeah, I think
yep. So I think we talked about this, but I think Sid, if you want to just cover quickly on the security level, because I think that's a big
yeah, that's a good point. So with these apps, with all the features and modules, if you're using it internally, your CIO will probably tell you to use it within Good or Mobiline or AirWatch or one of these mobile device management systems. So the good news is that E2M Learning Edition, they integrate very well with these MDM systems. So the security issues, the security checks, because we do work with a lot of financial companies, a lot of retailers, a lot of pharma companies, and the content that may have for the training is very confidential often, and they really need that to be protected. So the MDM integration is pretty strong, and in fact, almost all our enterprise customers have some form of MDM or the other. Yeah.
Okay, so this side, kind of shows, I think what you touched upon, Sid, is the power of social and how that can be leveraged within the trainings as well. So as you mentioned earlier, that is kind of the heartbeat, the social aspects, engagement as well as messaging. So not only again one-to-one while you're there to network and fill that 20% gap, to fill that 20% we had talked about earlier, where you're learning on social and informal settings. You may be sitting next to someone, or you may be in the same room as someone, and now you're able to use your app to engage with them and set up a meeting where you can talk later on. You're able to ask questions to directly to the speaker. That kind of stuff really helps because personally, if I'm in a room with about 200 people, my question may not have that opportunity. But now, if I'm able to ask the question via the app itself, all of a sudden the speaker or whatnot can come back and kind of bring that back to me at a different time. But as well as that, the social wall, photo wall really add for proper engagement. It adds fun, adds that informal feel where as you mentioned, a powerful way is a town hall. So you can talk, Sid, you can mention about how heavily the social wall or how how it was used within the social wall and the photo wall within the town hall and how successful it was there.
Yeah, I think once the users have got into the room, they need to, once they've got the materials that they need to, uh, social wall and messaging is all they want really, because you're not asking questions all the time, you're not polling all the time. Once you know which room you need to get to, then the agenda part is done. So really, the heartbeat is the messaging, both during the conference and after the training, because that's something that people want to relate to, and then that keeps flowing. So I would say this is the number one. I think if you had to ask us that what would be the number one need for this kind of an app, it would be the social wall and messaging. That really keeps the heartbeat going, because profile and agenda and all of that is fine, but what really strikes up the conversation and engagement are these things. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think these are some of the features as well to add the engagement. As Sid has touched upon some of these. Again, the live mic, turning your mobile into actual microphone for Q&A, live Q&A and polls. You can display live results on large screens, as well as within the app. Users can see real-time results for polls and things like that. And QA, like I mentioned, whether you're an introvert or you just don't, the session room is just really large where your question's not really going to get get addressed because there's 200 or 200, 300 people. You can always ask that question, and then the speaker or can actually come back at a later time to actually answer all of your questions. Quizzes, surveys, social wall as Sid just mentioned, and then instant messaging as well, the one-to-one messaging while you're there to engage further with the other attendees as well.
That's great.
So I think a lot of this stuff we have pretty much covered. So if there are any questions on this kind of stuff, the CMS again, moderation can happen for questions and things like that. So if there are any questions, feel free to raise your hand, and we'd love to hear any kind of feedback or anything that you guys have questions on, so that we can make sure to address those. This is just, again, more explaining, the social wall. You can add hashtags. You can share just internally, or you can share externally as well to other social networks. So it does connect seamlessly, with your Facebooks, your Twitter. So if you've set up, a Facebook page, for example, you can seamlessly go back and forth, kind of thing.
But just to add me here, we don't see a lot of use cases where external. In fact, most of our enterprise events, they prefer not to be on, especially internal events. They would rather not have anything to do with social. So that's the reason we bought the benefits of Twitter and Facebook and Messenger right into the app, so that it's contained and none of it is being posted online. So that was sort of one of the original inspirations of getting this module done.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And a lot of times these companies are, it is a security issue. They have a lot of compliance that they need to go through. So even social wall, photo walls, and things like that. And that's why, as I quickly mentioned, the moderation aspect, from the back end of the CMS really adds value as well, because that allows you to, as an organizer, really maintain, the social wall based on the compliance and security levels that you have as an organization. And then, I always this is my favorite aspect is the analytics. I always feel data is the most important thing, not only for ROI but as well as just knowledge purposes of how things are and how things went, and what you can improve upon at any given stage. So again, as I mentioned, real-time data, real-time analytics, discovering new things about your users, basically what devices they were using, down to not only just the iOS and Android, but even, iPhone 6s, iPhone 7s, what are they using, things like that. They really, analytics really adds that kind of value. Anything you want to add to that one, Sid? What are your experiences
Yeah.
on how analytics are interpreted?
Yeah, so analytics, what's great about analytics is that it's not meant to be a retrospective report only. We've seen trainers and organizers improving things daily based on the results, and you can set parameters as well. You can see who are the most active learners in the room. You can see who are the most active employees in the room. And the whole idea is not just to get a report, but the entire idea is to set goals. And with beacons, you can actually set goals in the physical medium as to what do you want to achieve. So if you said, well, what I want to achieve is 80% engagement, where I see that at least 80% of the people are actively confirming their understanding, because the biggest problem of training is that you you really don't know whether they're liking what you're saying. You really don't know whether they've understood. Now, everything cannot have a test around it. There's some, for example, if you're trying to explain your values and your mission and the history of your company, always tagging a trivia behind it is not the most convenient aspect. So, we found that analytics sort of give you implicit answers, and that's really the one of the best value benefits of analytics.
Yeah, and I completely agree. I think it really tells a story. It tells a story of how things went, and it's not just raw data as you mentioned. It's really just formulating that entire story. So I completely agree with that.
We're a bit running out of time, so yeah, okay, we're towards the end. Um, so as you can see, I probably skipped the sales part, but E2M is used a lot for internal events, learning and development. Some of our largest clients use it every day for multiple events every day. And when we say event, it includes all forms of engagement, whether it's a training or a town hall or a business meet. Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And okay, some of our clients, we have lots of customers where we cannot take their names for reasons of confidentiality. But yeah, these are some of the names. We'll be in London. I think 3rd and 4th of February in Olympia. The good booth number K14, just next to K12, and we'd be happy to give you an in-person demo show. I'll be there. One of my colleagues, Varun, will be there. Some of our UK colleagues will be there. So Meet is there. Tell us you were here at the webinar, and then we treat you to a free coffee or a beer, whichever you prefer. And thanks so much for your time today. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask us now, or you can email us back, and we'll be sure to come back to you. If you need a personalized demo, we'll be happy to do that as well. I hope we have not been too salesy. I hope you got some new insights that you didn't have before. But I think the central message is that if you have if you're doing an internal events training, the app is becoming an essential part of the infrastructure, and within that app as well, the messaging and the social wall is really the heartbeat. You can send us a query at contact@event2mobile.com. That's contact@event2 as in numeric mobile.com, and we'll be happy to come back to you with any questions. Thanks again for your time and patience, and thanks for the great audience. So many people coming in. Mihir, thanks for your help. It was great.
Absolutely. Thank you, everyone, as well. As Sid mentioned, hopefully you definitely get a chance to speak with him. It'll be a great time while in London.
Okay.
So thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye-bye.